It's the glasses. Okay, everybody. If we could maybe get started. There were two things actually that should have been mentioned as warden. In the back of your bulletin, there are announcements, or in the back of your order of service. So if you want to have a look at those, one of them is with regards to the Bishop's Company Fall event. Then there's also the Synod for the Diocese of Niagara. There's pre-Synod virtual meetings. So if you just have, if you can grab one as you go out, just to look at all these bulletins or announcements that are in here. There was one other one that I neglected to mention, and it was with regards to the Hamilton is Home Mayoral Fireside Chat, which is on October 5th from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Perkins Center. That's 1429 Main Street in Hamilton. And see Ann Washington if you have any questions with regards to that. So sorry, I should have mentioned that in my. Is it Main Street East? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, if we just want to maybe take a few minutes to just take a deep breath. And also kind of, I hopefully a lot of you read the snapshot tool for this session. And if we can just take a couple of minutes and kind of think about that snapshot tool and also what parish culture means before we start the session. So let's just take a couple of minutes to just debrief, take a deep breath, think about the process that we're going through and how important this is for our parish. No problem. Can I ask for a volunteer to read the opening prayer, please? Carly, thank you.
Living God, bless this gathering, that through listening and discussing, your will may be done and your mission embraced. May our dreaming be creative and hope-filled, and may we carefully hold the space so others may safely dream. May the pathway we discern allow all to flourish in this amazing life you call us into through the way of Jesus, the wisdom of the Spirit, and your unconditional and abiding love. Amen.
One thing that I would also like to mention, and maybe I can find someone who could be a timekeeper for these different sets of questions that we ask. Last week we kind of ran over a bit, so this week I would kind of like to, I want to hear everybody's voices. We don't want to cut anybody off, but also we would like to kind of keep everything into within an hour's time. So can I have someone, thank you, Mark. Thank you. And I'll tell you when, yes.
Do you mind if I take pictures off the wall while you're talking? Because I need to have another artist come in this week.
That's fine, yep.
I'll be quiet.
Yep. How much time do you want? Yeah, I'll tell you that in a few minutes, Mark, yep. So as I say, this week what we're doing is reshaping parish culture to enable ministries. And I'll just go through some of the snapshot tools just to kind of refresh you as to what we would like to look at this week. We have a volunteer recruitment, training, retention, and deployment process that empowers parishioners for ministry. As a congregation, we embrace God's abundance rather than living out our own sense of scarcity. Our building space is heavily booked for activities that support our mission. We have an intentional welcome process for newcomers, online and in person. Activity bags or other appropriate materials are provided for children during church services as a sign that we welcome children and families. Our website is up to date, relevant, and easily navigated by parishioners, newcomers, and those looking to get to know us. Our trusted leadership team makes decisions about the parish in consultation with the people. We have exit conversations with people who leave our church, which help shape our ministry. So those are just some of the questions that were on the snapshot tool, and that's just something for all of us to kind of think about as we go through this weekly process. As a second of a three-prong approach to developing a parish mission action plan, this group has gathered to discuss the current context of parish culture as it enhances or impedes mission, and to brainstorm ways to create more fertile space for missional imagination for parishioners, for people new to the parish, and for people who are interested in becoming familiar with what motivates you as a parish. Those ideas which develop traction with the group will form the nucleus of the Reshaping Parish Culture to enable ministry portions of the initial parish map. We went through last week the norms. Did you want me to read those again so that everybody, do you want me to read those over again? We were given 10 minutes for that, so, okay. So one of our first questions that we're going to ask, so I'll read the question again. As you completed the Parish Culture Snapshot Tool, what struck you about the culture of our parish? Oh, I should have gotten the microphone. Yeah, I'm going to get that. Something I don't do.
Okay, super. Yeah, I found that when I was answering that, going through that. Anybody would think I never done this before. Right, there you go. Okay, sorry. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, right. Now, when I was going through that snapshot, I found my pencil wavering sometimes between what we do and what we need to do more work on. And basically, I found at the end of mine that there were a lot of them which said we need to do more work on them. That was my kind of overview of my snapshot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Same here. I found a lot of them I read I sort of wished we were doing, and I would sum up the culture as insular.
Somebody else?
I guess I've always seen our culture as outreach. And I thought today, in the sermon, I felt proud that that's what we are. We're action and we're outreach.
I don't really need that, but
Yeah.
With the volunteer and recruitment, I don't think we do a very good job of that because it always seems to be the same people doing the jobs all the time. And it's not just the church, any organization I'm in, it seems to be a constant problem.
Anybody else? Lynn?
We're a busy people, and I think it's a very good that we're a busy people. I think sometimes when you come in, might feel like a very busy thing to sort out what's going on. For example, I forget who it was I was talking to, but they'd been here a very long time, and they finally said to me, "What is Teen Treasures?" And so I think it's really important that people know what is House Tour, what is Teen Treasures. So I think I think we work at welcoming, and I think Mary said that, when she came, 7 people spoke to her right away the first weekend. And that's great, but I think we need to help educate people about what this whirling dervish that is St. James actually, what all these things are. There are a lot of in-words that aren't meant to be exclusionary, but what's a women's weekend? Like, what's a women's weekend? Right? And I think if you're your first year and you've never been, you don't know what a women's weekend is, right?
Just to tag what you were saying, Lynn, I think too, and it's inherent in most parishes that I've served, is that we do all these things and we're busy. I think we also have to understand why. Why is it that we do the things we do? And how do we tell other people why we do the things we do? And that speaks to our mission and our vision statement. And I think also inherent in most parishes is, do we know what our mission statement is? Like, every parish has a mission statement, or should. And do we know what that is? Do we actually keep that in the forefront of what we do and why we do what we do? It should actually drive what we do. So, that first piece in the snapshot about mission and vision, and keeping that in the forefront, and revisiting it on a regular basis.
Right. Yep. Anybody else? Oh.
On a positive note, I just wanted to let you guys know I had a call from 2 of my friends asking me about Treasures and Tea, and they went to our website. So you guys are doing a fantastic job on keeping the website up to date. People are knowing and finding out a lot of things about the church through the website.
Okay, good to know. Yep. Okay, what we'll do is we'll move on to our next question. We have 5 minutes left. How does our parish culture currently enhance ministry and mission? I'll read that again. How does our parish culture currently enhance ministry and mission? Maddie?
The last parish mission or vision that I recall really emphasized the Great Commandment and the notion of love and being loving, and I think that does carry throughout everything that we do here at St. James.
Yes. How does our parish culture currently enhance ministry and mission?
As I wavered on whether to say good works or we need to do more, one of the things that I think we do very well is the children's ministry.
Right. Yep.
And that certainly does fulfill part of what our mission is all about.
Christine had a...
All the different activities that we have. all the different activities that we have, like yesterday and what's coming up this month, the trivia night, all of that stuff, I think, is part of the mission.
Okay.
I've found in the past few years, when somebody sees a need, then they mention it, and we try and get it going. For instance, the mission to the seafarers. That was one thing that was new that was taken on by a couple of people and encouraged through the parish with what they needed. And as a result, they got a pool table. And we have other things too in mind. I know Anne has a few. And of course, we're going to get a carpool and go to the Mayoralty debate about the homeless. And I know when I filled in mine, they asked for suggestions, and I'm sure that other people have filled in different things.
Okay, anybody else? Let's move on to the third question then. Are there any noteworthy ways in which the culture impedes ministry and mission? And we'll just give Janet a few seconds to get set up. Lynn, could you put the question, tape the question? It fell on the floor. Yeah, there. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Maddie.
I think this might not be an expected kind of comment, but I do think we have a tendency to be very nervous about being fundamental, or I'm not exactly sure what we mean by that, but we tend to stay away from the Holy Spirit or anything that speaks to what people might sort of think of as woo-woo, and I think it costs us,
Okay.
you know.
Lynn?
We do fundraising. We do massive amounts of fundraising. Some people say too much, and I think I agree. But we do it so we can support the church, so we can pay the bills. But imagine if we could spend all the energy we spent fundraising doing mission work for seafarers or for the refugees or for the community dinner folk. So I think, well, I'm the chair fundraiser and I'm the big fundraiser guru, and that's fabulous, sort of. But imagine a world where we didn't have to spend the energy doing that and we did it on mission.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Two more and then, yeah. I think, are we over, Mark?
No, it's just that I did do that snapshot this time. And one of the things, I think the question was, what impedes us doing our mission, right? And I think one of those that impedes us is if we have lots of ideas, lots of good intentions, but we only have a limited amount of people that can do it. We're all getting older, so that whole business about, you know, where are the 40-year-olds and the 50-year-olds that can carry this on? So I would consider that to be a bit of an impediment.
Yep. Therese, did you have a comment?
Just about to follow up on Lynn's comment about, you know, we do fundraising a lot just to support the church, but I mean, we are starting to get in a different direction, like with the trivia night. So yes, it's a fundraiser, but it's 100% to support St. Matthew's House. So that one's directly related to mission.
Yeah. Okay, yep. Okay, I think we'll wrap that up and move on to our next session. We'll just give Janet a minute. Let's root our aspirations and dreams in this scripture verse from Romans 12. Let love be genuine. Hate what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not lag in zeal. Be ardent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints. Extend hospitality to strangers. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but give yourselves to humble tasks. Do not claim to be wiser than you are. Do not repay anyone evil for evil, but take thought for what is noble in the sight of all. If it is possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never average yourselves, but leave room for the wrath of God. For it is written, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay," says the Lord. No, if your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they are thirsty, give them something to drink. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Mark, if you can put 20 minutes. Yeah, 20, please. I'll read the first question twice. What might we add to or change about our current practices that would deepen our spiritual rhythms and our ability to engage with God's mission? What might we add to or change about our current practices that would deepen our spiritual rhythms and our ability to engage with God's mission?
If it was at all possible, I think it would be really neat to take a service to the schools. If they would welcome us in, I think it would be really for an hour with the I just think it would be a good thing if we could do that, high schools and junior schools.
Yep.
You'd be fighting with the school boards. Along with my comment about being insular, I think that's something we could change, is somehow looking more outward, but like also what Maddie said, is avoid being sort of that, I call it Bible thumper. I don't know how else to. Oh, sorry. Along with what Maddie said, I think there's a fear of being considered like a Bible thumper, or, I guess the idea of evangelical, but somehow to make ourselves useful to the community, but also without needing to pat our own backs, just doing things because they have to be done, not because we want recognition. I don't know.
I think that we have discussed this before, but I really feel having groups where we can talk about our spirituality, and I'm just reading Richard Rohr, The Divine Dance, and it's beautiful. And it's so nice to be able to share that with another person or persons. So that's what I would say.
Yep.
In addition to the Women's Weekend, which did have a definite spiritual twist to it when it was initiated, it might be a good idea if we're not going to be Bible thumpers, to drift more towards the monastic tradition, to which end it might be a good idea to have a retreat every now and again. That would be helpful, I think.
That's a great idea. I really like that. And also, something that was touched on before, small groups. We used to do that here at the church. Maybe going back to doing something like that. That was the beginning of a healing group that I think we had for over about 30 years. There was one more thing I wanted to say, but of course I've forgotten, so I'll pass it on.
That's okay.
Question, has the congregation ever done a parish retreat weekend away? Hmm? Okay, that might be something to look at. I know I served in a church in Windsor right while I was in university, St. Mary's Walkerville, and one weekend every fall, they packed everything up and moved services, everything to a retreat. Probably about an hour's drive from the church. Sunday services was done at the retreat. And there was a lot of wonderful camaraderie. There was definitely, mission plan in front of us, and came away with a lot more energy.
Yeah.
And it was something done every year. And I don't think it was a ridiculous cost. It'd be something maybe to look at.
Okay.
And I know I'm hearing a lot about the women's retreat weekend, which I think is fabulous. Has there ever been a men's retreat? Did it go well? Yeah. Yes. Right. Because I know my last church I served at, there was a women's weekend that we heard about for like 3 months prior to the event. Never heard anything much after, but all of a sudden someone said, can we have, and it was led by the minister, a men's retreat. And we went up to Crieff, which is not far from here, up just off of Highway 6. And we went there for the weekend. You bunked in, and I got, as a person, I went too, and I went to, and I met people that I've never known before.
Yeah.
That were parishioners in the congregation.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, very good idea.
I don't mind getting some information for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, Crieff is quite a good place. It's there was a lot of really good spiritual conversations going.
Yeah, I imagine there would be. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Just on the same note there, we're going to Five Oaks, and this is our first year there as well, the women's group, and it is it's only a half hour here, not even a half hour from Dundas, and they have the same sort of accommodations, and it's an incredibly spiritual place. There's just beautiful spots. It's right on the Grand River, so just as a thought.
Yep, thanks. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. That is what practices? And we may have covered this already with regards to this first question, so, but we'll just give Janet a second to set up. I'll read out the question. What practices might we start that would speak into our growing edges for transforming parish life? We may have covered this in some of the points we made in with the last question, but let me read it again. What practices might we start that would speak into our growing edges for transforming parish life?
When Anne was going in for her surgery and we all did hands-on prayer,
Yes.
I found that extremely moving, and there's a lot of other people that could use that. So I think it should become a regular practice.
Right. Yep. Okay.
If I've understood the mission of this missional church initiative, the idea is that we need to involve spirit more so that we'll have more energy, more skill, more discernment to step up to a higher level. This is particularly important since we have so few people. We need more energy. We need more God in our work so that we could do all of the normal sort of fundamental things like Bible study, prayer group, meditation, coming together in healing groups, as Angela was saying, and so on and so forth, sort of to prepare ourselves and to prepare our community to invite Holy Spirit and to take advantage of the huge energy that Spirit can provide. If you think back, every time there's a big Christian initiative or any initiative, Spirit's there, hovering, pondering, sending an angel, sending a dream. And we have to be in shape to be able to receive that.
Angela, did you have something? Yep.
I was just going to say about the small groups as well, but one of the things that Frank mentioned this morning after commenting on our turkey dinner, that we could do that, and we used to do this, instead of having it as a fundraiser, but just to go back to potluck dinners. I know during COVID everything is shut down, but that might be something that we could do, but just our church family, you know, and even on monthly basis or whatever. And as to what Christine was saying about healing, we used to do that years ago when we did the small groups. Around that time, we used to have a healing service once a month here where we had hands-on healing. So that might be something for us to think about as well.
Oh, very good. Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have healing groups as maybe even part of the potlucks or service for healing.
I haven't been in this diocese very long, so I don't have much experience about what is done or not done. But does this diocese have lay anointers? Are they used as?
Not officially, no.
I come from the Diocese of Toronto. I'm not holding it up as any better than anyone else, any other diocese, but there is an intentional group of people who take a weekend training to become lay anointers. And in one of the churches I attended, at every single Eucharistic service, there were, in this particular church, it had a large congregation, 2 lay anointers at the back of the church. We have a beautiful spot here, who had done this training, and they prayed with people who came up to them, and they anointed them with oil. And that was very many people used that facility.
Yep. Just for your information, I've looked into this, there is a course in Toronto through the diocese in October. If anybody wants any information, I can give you that information with regards to it. So, yes. Yes, that's right. Yeah. But it's just, if anybody wants to kind of learn about what it is or anything like that, yeah, they can kind of look at it. Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
The weekend, that healing week, learning about healing, is a very interesting program. There are profs from Trinity College and Wycliffe who come, and you learn about the history of healing through the ages and how healing occurred in the New Testament, and it's a very worthwhile weekend. I attended many because I was on the committee.
When I'm on duty and I'm gowning up, which hasn't been very often lately, there's a big wooden cross that Carol used to use when we did Taizé services. It's God the Father, Spirit, and Holy Ghost all in one. Not very big, beautiful. I would love to have Taizé services again.
Well,
I thought they were wonderful.
That cross was custom made for us by an artist in, I'm not sure of Dundas or Hamilton, but locally. And it's quite beautiful. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it's in a storage somewhere. Where is it? Is it in the vestry? Oh, I didn't see it in there. Well, yeah. I will say that I have been mulling over whether or not to offer a Taizé service again. I'm still thinking about that. I don't know if I've got the energy, but you know, it's something that I would love to do if I figure I can.
Yep.
Okay, so keep it in mind.
Lynn? And then we'll move on to our next question. Oh, sorry, okay. No, Lynn and then Peter, yep. Yeah.
I'm trying to be brief. I ponder our relationship with the community dinner guests and if that can be strengthened. I remember one of the young men had been part of cadets and he got an invitation to the church and he spoke to Nora and me and he said, "Am I allowed to come to the church? I have this invitation." And I remember when the dinner's been Christmas Eve, we've had people come. I remember one year we used to have a Boxing Day dinner and it happened on the same day and we had the Boxing Day dinner for the congregation and the community dinner at the same time. There are folks hurting in our community that we have some connection to. I ponder, is there a role, is there a way we can be more of a community for them? Second thought is that we welcome refugees, and it's a very powerful part of what we do. Some of the Syrian refugees who came 6 years ago struggle profoundly. Some of them have come, everything has gone well, and etc. But I wonder if there's a place. I had a doctor ask me, I have a refugee family, they're not doing well, Adele. What resources are available? And I was a little at a loss as what to say.
Peter?
A couple of people have mentioned that we're very close to Mac. And there is no overt ministry to Mac students by our diocese. I'm wondering whether or not we might provide something in the way of hospitality, opportunities for discussion, and so on and so forth. I know that, for example, in the Diocese of Huron, St. Luke's, Bruffdale, was right outside the gates of the university, and it was spent a lot of time trying to survive, and they've renamed it Luke's Place and have reorganized the space to provide meals for students, and opportunities for discussion. It's coming alive in a way that it wasn't for years.
Oh, good. Yep. Okay.
I'm not very knowledgeable, but I thought we used to, or the diocese used to contribute to a chaplaincy at McMaster, and are they still doing that? Okay, sort of. Okay, and is there some sense that the students at McMaster are not being enough serviced? We don't know.
There's a difference between a chaplain, which is a role critical, and I'm not minimizing, and having something like a Luke's Place. They're not mutually exclusive. They're a both and. Queens does something similar as well, where you actually invite them as to be part of the congregation in the community, which is different than the chaplain. The chaplains are fabulous.
Do you want to say something? Yeah, Janet?
I was just going to say, I noticed when I'm driving home, Canadian Martyrs has I think it's once a month, a dinner for McMaster University students. So again, it's a very it's a welcoming way to bring them into the congregation, and as they may have discussions and opportunities in that way.
Now, Canadian Martyrs has the advantage of being directly across the street. Location is important, and location can be 2 or 3 blocks. What we can do will be constrained by facilities and proximity. Yeah.
This might be superfluous. I don't hear very well with the microphones, but years ago the Anglicans did have a chaplaincy at MAC, and it was, I guess, the money in the budget came to the point where they couldn't support that anymore, so that was brought to an end. But personally, when I went to Guelph University for my undergraduate, I came to know and become best friends with the Anglican chaplain at Guelph University, and it's one of the major things that brought me into the full-time ministry.
Mark, how much time? We have about 30 seconds left. Did we want to continue on with the other? Yeah, just, just bear with me. Did we want to add another 10 minutes on to finish up with these questions, or would you like to move on? Sorry? We have 2 more questions. You would like to know what the next 2 questions? Okay, the next question would be this disruptive feeling that accomplishes or precedes anticipated changes can be scary. Which of these change-oriented calls might need more prayer and listening time to reassure people? Repeating it, yep. Okay, sorry. The disruptive feeling that accompanies or precedes anticipated changes can be scary. Which of these change-oriented calls might need more prayer and listening time to reassure people? And then the next question would be, let's stop for a moment and ponder in silence all that we've discussed. Give some thought to wondering if there is anything we might have missed. If you give God some space in your head and heart for the next minute or 2, do you hear a call to explore any other practices or paths? Yep. I can't hear you, sorry. Yes, that's right, yes. We can add on some more time if you want to discuss these 2 questions. Yep.
Can I make my comment on the last
Yes.
With the reaching out to students, and Sharon's right, Canadian Martyrs is right across the street. I know my neighbor has, we call her the basement dweller. She rents an apartment in the basement. And she was born and raised Catholic, and she goes to Canadian Martyrs, and she's met a whole bunch of young people there. Whatever they're doing is working. I know we're not the closest to MAC, but St. Paul's Westdale is, so maybe there's some opportunity to join forces in some way, because they're right in Student Central there.
They're right around the corner. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 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 So.
Yeah, I just, I can't quite remember right now, but when I took the course about change, it was wonderful, and it made a lot of comments about how we can ease change. So instead of, we actually thrive instead of survive. And so I think some of those concepts might be helpful here. How to slow it down, how not to change more than, say, 10 or 15% at a time, celebrating the emotional change. And I think we did that partly, addressing the emotional part of change with our community dinner, with our dinners last night, to celebrate change and our grief about the kind of change that we've had to make over the last 3 years and the people we've lost.
So we're willing to add another 10 minutes on? Okay. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yep. So actually, can you leave that one up? Yeah, leave that one up, please. Thank you. No, no, sorry. Yeah, it should just stick back on. Yep. So, yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. All of this lovely stuff that we're doing within our existing congregations is commendable. And I think part of what we also need to look at is not just what we can do with McMaster, but what about our neighbors? You know, are we reaching out sufficiently to our neighbors to invite them to come in, and indeed to even let them know what we're doing in this mission that we're looking forward to? So I think outreaching into our neighbors, you know, can't take on the whole world, but I do wonder if the people up on McNabb Street or up at the far end of town, are they aware of what St. James does, or do we just worship?
Richard?
Because of the pause caused by COVID, and we still haven't seen people come back yet, is there any thought on how to re-engage the people that are watching on television with a coffee and in their jammies to get them physically back to the building on a Sunday morning? And is there a lot, or is it like 2 or 3? I don't know. It strikes me as probably a lot, or a fair number. I'm just asking, is that something that has been explored, or is it part of this mandate of what we're talking about?
Christine?
I can remember something that happened during my mom and dad's age here, and I guess it was once a year, they would have a visit from somebody. Somebody from the congregation would come and say, oh, how's it going, what you doing? And they'd be asking for money or to sign up, but I think that's a good idea. Let people know that we're still here and we want to make contact.
The other way to have other people engage with the church, the people that are watching, is to really advertise on social media as well, like have an Instagram page and just say, or a Twitter page, whatever we have. It's good to have both. And, you know, maybe after the service, or just tune in to see what's happening this week and things like that. They go to the website, but social media is like basically instant and very informative. It's short and sweet, and people get the point. So maybe that's another way to engage.
Right, yep.
Sorry, I'll do another one. Following up with what Marlene has said, there are still people within our congregation and beyond who do not access social media. So one of the things that I think is still important is we did set up the telephone contact, and I think that's something that could be rejuvenated. Some of us still continue on with that, and those people to whom we speak are most appreciative of the call. So that's another one. Don't forget the people who aren't on social media.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, last question, or last comment.
And comment is I wish that it was easier to find the Wednesday night Compline, because I find it's easy to click on for the church service, but I've had a lot of trouble trying to get onto that, and I think it's so worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Yep, okay. Okay, we're going to move on now, and Janet, what I'm going to ask you to do is, after you finish writing, or I guess, yeah, we got to. If you could move the one and just attach it to the one you were just writing on. Yep. No, leave that there. Yep, leave that there, Janet. Yep. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to ask us 4 questions, and then we're going to wrap up. Looking at what we've just discussed, in which of these ideas do you most clearly see or feel the presence of God? Christine? Just of these that are written here.
So on there, it does say small groups, right? Like group study?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my answer. Group study.
Yeah. Okay, yep. Any others? Yes, I can, yeah. In which of these ideas do you most clearly see or feel the presence of God?
On this page.
Yes.
Offering a healing service as part of a regular schedule. Increase spirituality to increase our energy levels. Potluck dinners for support, interaction, socializing, but not for fundraising. Having lay anointers at service. The Taez service. Strengthen our connection with community dinner guests and increase our refugee support. Hospitality discussion groups with McMaster University, or potentially working with St. Paul's Westdale, to increase our interaction with our immediate neighbors. How do we re-engage with online worshipers? Offering parish visits. Use social media to promote and engage. Continue with the telephone contact list and ease of access to online services. And small groups.
Okay, yep.
Okay. Take service to the schools, if possible. Looking more outward rather than inwardly. Do more for the community. Having small group discussions and healing services. Embracing a monastic tradition such as a retreat. Offering potentially a full parish retreat on an annual basis. And the men's spirituality group and the women's retreat.
So I'll read the question again. In which of these ideas do you mostly see or feel the presence of God? Would you rather that we read them out and you stick up your hand if it's, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Lots of good ideas there.
Right.
It's hard, and maybe a mix of most of them would be a good approach, rather than just choose 4.
No, there's 4 questions. I'm not saying we're going to check off. There's 4 questions that I'm going to answer, or that I'm going to ask you, okay. Yeah, with regards to these points that we've made. Yeah, sorry, yep. Yes, yeah. Okay, so I'll read the question again. In which of these ideas do you most clearly see or feel the presence of God? Yeah, can you read them out again? Sorry. Yeah, and people can raise their hands. Yeah, sorry.
Could I just put it in answer there? I guess since we were talking about young people are reaching out to schools, that we can't ignore social media. To me, that's sort of where a lot of the community is now.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that would be mine.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So offering a healing service as part of a regular schedule.
$14.
Increase our spirituality to increase our energy levels. Sorry, yes. So increase our spirituality to increase our energy levels.
That's 11 or 12? 13.
Having activities such as potluck dinners for support, interaction, and socializing, but not as a fundraising event.
$12.
Having lay anointers at service. Lay anointers.
11, 12.
Offering the Taze, sorry, service.
15.
Strengthen our connection with our community dinner guests.
17, 18.
Increase the amount of support to refugees that we provide.
Oh, sorry. I'm in a daze. 12, 13.
Offering hospitality and discussion groups with McMaster University students, and potentially joining and working with St. Paul's Westdale.
6.
Increase our interaction with our immediate neighbors.
11.
Question, how do we re-engage with online worshipers?
6.
Offering parish visits.
14.
Using social media to promote and engage beyond our immediate community and within our community.
And yep. 17.
Continuing with the telephone contact list, especially to address those people who do not have access to computers.
17.
And increasing our ease of access to online services.
4.
I'd probably add in stability for the online services.
Stability, that's right, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so there we go. Oh, yep, sorry, yep, sorry.
Right. So we also had, if possible, take a service to the schools. We can cross that one off because that's not going to happen. It's not a bad idea, but the school board is not.
Yeah, the school
allowed.
board, won't go for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we can.
Outdoor service.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we change it to outdoor service? Is that better?
Change my pen.
Yeah. Now, the purpose of this is because at the end, when we get to our fourth session, what we're going to do is from each session that we've had, we pick the 4 top choices that you have chosen. Then our final session, we'll look at all those top choices, and then we will eventually whittle that down to one or 2 ideas that we have to increase our missional plan and how we reach our community. Just in case you were wondering why we're ticking these all off, so yeah.
Okay. So looking more outwardly than inwardly.
2.
2.
3, sorry, there's 3.
Doing more for the community.
1, 2, 3, 4. We would have to look at ideas as to what more we would do. So it's kind of like we would put that down, doing more to community. What does that entail? It's just kind of a So it's kind of a mission. That would be our mission, and then we would look at, say, okay, how can we engage more with our community? Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Is reaching the community. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So do we have a vote on that?
Yep.
Did we get a vote on that?
Oh, sorry. How many voted for that one? Now that I've kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Having small discussion groups and small healing services. Okay, well, we can do let's do the small discussion group and then we can do the healing.
Yep, okay, small discussion groups. 18.
And
A healing circle.
Healing services.
Yeah, healing services.
Oh, we did have that as healing, but I think this was more small healing, if I remember the discussion. It was small groups focusing on healing.
Yeah.
So I think it is a bit different from at the general service.
Right, yep.
So this would be small healing groups. I think, but we focused one as being discussion.
Yeah.
So perhaps this is a separate.
Yep. So small healing. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After all that, only 8 people.
Embracing monastic traditions such as retreats.
16, 17. Oh, Anne. 18.
It was embracing monastic traditions such as holding retreats.
Yep. Yeah, we had. Are you adding your hand to that, Sharon? 18. Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No voting twice there, Mark.
Now I get 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're almost done. Having a full parish retreat, perhaps as an annual event. That's different from the monastic one.
Yes.
That was where we would take everything and go away for a weekend, as Richard described. Pardon?
How many would want that? 10.
Continuing with both men's spirituality groups and the women's retreat. But so does the men's spirituality. Okay. All right. Okay. So we won't vote on that one. So the last one is having a service outdoors, perhaps at, let's say, Dundas Driving Park, if that was a possibility.
12. Yep. Okay. Now, I think most of these, there's, and I think that this all ties in together. The next question is, which of these ideas draws your heart and soul? Well, I think that most of these, from the response you've given, I think I pretty well got the answer for that. Which of these ideas fits readily into God's given gifts already at work in our midst? I think all of them. Is that correct? Would you say all of them? Yep. And which of these ideas invite us to grow our skills and knowledge before we launch them? I would say, would you say all of them? Yep. We're in agreement with that? Yep. That's right. Yep. Yep. Okay. That is it for today. And we're just a little over an hour. So again, we'll meet again next week, and the next one is neighborhood. Just let me hang on a second. It's right here. If my hands would work. Yes, thank you. Fullness of life in the neighborhood. So you all got the email or the e-blast that was sent out. You got the snapshot tool for that. It was included in the email that was sent out. So if you can just have a look at that, look at the questions, try and answer the questions. I know it's really, really hard. It's you know, each one it becomes a little bit more difficult to answer them honestly, and how we as a faith community can commit ourselves. So just before you go, could I please have somebody do the closing prayer? Angela, yeah.
Loving God, we give you thanks for our time together, for careful listening to one another and to the Spirit, for hopes and aspirations, for leaning more deeply into the way of Jesus, for intentions around developing habits and rhythms that will bring us closer to you. Bless us as we leave this gathering, empowered by our longing, strengthened by our common life in you, and eager to be your presence in the world. Amen.